Welcome to the SI Academy. So today we are starting about the class 10th chapter number 6 life process. Okay, the previous videos of these chapters are given in the link given in the description box as well as again check our playlist so that having the all videos of this chapter. Please one time check in our playlist. Okay, today we'll starting about the next topic, that is called as the what, lymph. Okay, so first question comes here, what is lymph means? We can write there is another type of fluid also involved in transportation. This is called as lymph or a tissue fluid. What is a lymph or tissue fluids means we can write another type of fluid is involved in the transportation. It is a one type of fluid that involvement in the what, the involvement in the transportation is called as what, lymph or a tissue. This is the simple question you can write. Okay, through the pores present in the walls of the capillaries. So again next question comes here, how lymph is formed means from this point we can write the pores present in the walls of the capillaries. Small pores means holes. Okay, the pores present in the walls of the capillaries, some amount of plasma, proteins and blood cells escape into intracellular space. Okay, the pores present in the capillaries, some amount of plasma, protein and blood cells escape into the intracellular space in the tissues to form the tissue fluid or a lymph. This much you have to write. Okay, how tissue is formed means the pores present in the walls of the capillaries, the small pores present in the capillaries of the wall, the amount of plasma, protein and blood cells escape into the intracellular space in the tissue to form the tissue fluid or a lymph. This much you have to write. How lymph or a tissue fluid is formed means you can write this. Okay, the protein and that blood cells and plasma are present in the water, present in the capillary of the wall, and they are escaping into the intracellular space. Okay, this forms the what, lymph. Okay, this much you have to write. First question is what is lymph, how lymph is formed means from this point to this point you have to write. Okay, next, it has a similar to the plasma of blood but colorless and contains less protein. Okay, this lymph is or similar to the plasma of the blood but it is a colorless and it contains less amount of protein in it. It is similar to the blood or plasma but it contains what, less protein as well as it is having a colorless. Okay, lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries from the intracellular space. Okay, again lymphs are again divided into so small capillaries called as what, lymphatic capillaries from the intracellular space. Okay, which join to form large lymph vessels that finally open into the large veins. Again that small lymph are divided into smaller and smaller vessels called as the lymphatic capillaries, and these lymphatic capillaries again join in what, larger veins. Okay, next question comes here, what is the function of lymph means you can write a lymph carries digested and absorbed fat. It carries the what, digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid from extracellular space back into the blood. This is the function of lymph carries digested and absorbed fat. Okay, what is the answer here? Lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine. It will mainly carries digested fat and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess means more fluid from extracellular. Okay, that it drains the extra fluid from the extracellular space and it will send it to the blood. Okay, back into the blood. Okay, this is the function of lymph. Okay, in this paragraph 3 question comes here. First is what is lymph means, from this point you have to write here. So it is what, one type of transportation fluid. Okay, this is called as the lymph. Again, how lymph is formed means the pores present in the what, walls of the capillaries and that having what plasma, protein and blood cells, so escapes into the intracellular cells and forms what lymph. Okay, this much you have to write from this point to this point, the second question. And third question is what is the function of lymph means, so it drains the extracellular space, so it drains the excess of fluid from the extracellular space back into the blood and it carries the digested absorbed. These three questions are important in this paragraph. Okay, lymph paragraph. Okay, these three are how to important, you have to study. Okay, next I will study about the transportation. Now we will now we have discussed that one is the nutrition, second one thought the respiration, and third one we are doing the most important part transportation. Okay, next third part is what transportation. So you already know that the nutrition as well as the respiration. Now we're discussing about the third part of the section, what is called the transportation in plants. Okay, we have discussed earlier how plants takes in simple compounds such as carbon dioxide and photosynthesis energy stored in their chlorophyll containing organs, namely leaves. We already studied in the respiration that some organisms are autotrophic, some organisms are heterotrophic. Already know that. Again, that in a plants they will take the carbon dioxide and create the food by the process of photosynthesis, and the energy is stored in the form of water, leaves. Okay, leaves in that which forms we already know that what is that means. Okay, our guess is correct. We can call that was the starch. Okay, the energy stored in the leaves is called as what, starch. Okay, so that's stored in the what, leaves. We already studied in our previous classes. Okay, the other kinds of raw materials needed for building plant bodies will also have to be taken up separately. So the plant need for the preparation of food means we can say that is the sunlight, chlorophyll, water, so and these are, and carbon dioxide is taken also, but some other raw materials like minerals and nutrients, these are also taken up by the plants with the help of soil. Okay, they are taken by separately. For plants, the soil is the nearest and richest source of the raw materials, like okay, the plants also requiring other raw materials like what, nitrogen, phosphorus, other minerals, they are taken up by the soil only, because the soil is the nearest source for the plants to take these type of minerals. Okay, minerals, nutrients, plant nitrogen, phosphorus. Okay, these type are taken by the soil only, from the soil only. The soil is the nearest and richest source of materials like nitrogen and phosphorus, other minerals. The absorption of these substances therefore occur through the part in contact with the soil, namely roots. Okay, these substances like nitrogen or phosphorus or minerals, they are absorbed in the plant with the help of called as with the help of what, roots only, because these roots are near to the soil. So with the help of roots only they will absorb these kind of substance. Okay, if the substance between the soil contacting organ and a chlorophyll containing organs are small, energy and raw materials can easily diffuse all parts of the plant body. Okay, the contacting body, that roots and that the soil having very little space means the all type of what raw materials are easily diffused into the all parts of the body. Okay, the transportation of all these substance and that contacting parts of that plant are having less difference or having less distance means, so that these substances are easily transported to the all parts of the body. But if this distance becomes large because of changes the plant body design, diffusion process will not be sufficient to provide raw materials in leaves and energy in roots. Okay, so in a small plant the roots and the distance between the soil is very small, so the required raw materials by the plant is passed by the soils with a very with very small plants. Okay, as the plant grows and the size of the plant increases, or that body becomes complex, that time these substances are not transported to the each parts of the plant by the help of diffusion process. Okay, this comes the here this comes one problem to the plants. So the plants which are very short plants, they can takes the all the raw materials with the help of what a diffusion process. With these smaller plants or shorter plants, we can take the raw materials for their growth and development by the process of what diffusion. But as the complexity increases or the plant grows longer, that time this diffusion process will not met. Okay, that time the plant having a serious problem how these raw materials are transported to the higher parts of the plant. Okay, that time which system is used or what type of a system they are adopted, that you have to discuss here. Okay, a proper system of transportation is therefore essential in such situations. Okay, that diffusion is not a sufficient method to transfer the raw materials to the aerial parts of the plant. When the plant grows higher, that time this becomes a very serious problem to the plant. Okay, that time the plant having a two specialized parts for this purpose. That two specialized parts is known as the what. So we already know that in ninth class we already studied that is called as the one is xylem, another is called as the phloem. Okay, we already know that energy needs differ between a different body design. Okay, we already know that the energy needs differ between the different body designs. Okay, someone will takes the more energy, someone will take the less energy depending on their body designs. Okay, the energy needs a differ in different body design. Okay, plants do not move and plant bodies have a large portion of dead cells in many tissues. Okay, plant cells are does not move, they are what constant, and they will require less energy because the all cells are almost all cells are dead cells in the plant body. Okay, as a result plants have low energy needs. Again, plant body requires very less amount of energy because the all cells are what dead cells only, so they require very less amount of energy, and can use the relatively slow transport system. Again, they use the slow transporting system because the cells are what almost all dead cells. There is no hurry, there is no emergency requirement of energy, so they require the energy, but there is no rapid requirement of the energy. They provide the energy with slow transportation because the all cells are dead cells. Okay, the distance over which transport systems have to operate, however, can be very large in plants such as very tall trees. Okay, these sometimes it is a slow transportation, means it will very difficulty to the plants to supply the raw materials for the larger heights or a greater heights plants. Okay, that time they having what features we discussed in the above section, that plants transport system will move energy stores from leaves and raw materials from the roots. Again, the plant stores the energy in what the leaves and other raw materials from the roots to transport aerial parts of the plant. Okay, these two pathways are constructed as independently organized conducting tubes. Okay, the transportation of water and the transportation of minerals and so other kind of raw materials, as well as the transportation of energy is conducted by two different conducting tubes in the plant. Okay, the transportation of energy and the transportation of raw materials and water and minerals are transported in two separate conducting tubes. Okay, one is the xylem, moves water and minerals obtained from the soil. Okay, so here two types we already know that one is the water xylem and another is water phloem. You already know that. Okay, one is the xylem another one is we called that phloem, correct? So these are the two specialized cells will perform the transportation of raw materials and other substance into the aerial part of the plant. Okay, the other the xylem moves the water and minerals. Okay, well, here the xylem will move water and minerals obtained from the soil. This is the function of xylem. The xylem transport the water and minerals obtained from the soil. Okay, the other phloem transport a product of photosynthesis from the leaves where they are synthesized to other parts of the plant. Okay, xylem will transport water and minerals. So and that phloem will transport the product of photosynthesis of from the leaves where they are synthesized to other parts of the plant. Okay, we have studied the structure of these tissues in okay class 9th. Okay, we already studied detailed manner. Okay, types of phloem and types of what are the parts of the phloem and what are the xylem parts. Okay, we'll study in detail in 9th standard. Okay, now next we'll concluding the transport of water in plants. How water is transported in a plant? In a xylem tissue, vessels and tracheids. Okay, xylem having four types. Okay, one is what vessels, and next second one the tracheid and xylem fibers, and third one is xylem parenchyma. These are the four constituent parts of the xylem. Okay, you have remembered that means you can easily understand. Okay, what are the parts of xylem means we can say that one is the tracheids, second one vessel, third one is xylem fiber, third part is what xylem fiber, fourth one is xylem parenchyma. So the fourth one is xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber, tracheids and vessels. These are the four parts of xylem or constituted by the four parts by xylem. These are the four constituent parts of xylem: tracheids, vessels of xylem fiber and xylem parenchyma. Here, xylem tissue, vessels and tracheids of the roots, stems and leaves are interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channels to reaching all parts of the plant. Here, xylem tissues like vessels and tracheids of the roots. Okay, the roots of the xylem vessel and tracheids, stems and leaves are interconnected. Okay, the roots, stems, leaves, vessels and tracheids, these are interconnected and they will pass the water molecules continuously to the all parts of the plant. Okay, these water vessels and tracheids of the water roots, stems, leaves. The tracheids and vessels of the roots, stems and leaves are interconnected to form a continuous channel or a continuous root. Channel means here root. Okay, they will transport the water molecules to different parts of the plant. Okay, at the root cells in contact with the soil actively take up the ions. Okay, the roots are contact with the soil, they will take the ions from the soil. This creates a difference in the concentration of these ions between the root and the soil. Okay, here the roots taking the ions from the soil, so this will creates the some difference in the difference between the water root and soil. Here the roots is taking the ion from the soil and this taking of the ions creates a difference between a root and soil. Okay, water therefore water moves into the root from the soil to eliminate this difference. Okay, the soil is observing the ions from the soil, so that will create the difference between soil and root, so that difference will move the water molecules to the upward to eliminate this difference. Water is moved to the upper side. Okay, to eliminate this difference. This means that there is a steady movement of water into the xylem, creating a column of water that is steadily pushed upward. This mainly this creation of pressure or the creation of difference between what roots and soil that makes the water molecules move towards upward direction and with continuously with the help of what creation of ions difference. Okay, however, this pressure by itself is unlikely to be enough to move water over the heights that we commonly see in plants. A plant use another strategy to move water in the xylem upward to the highest points of the plant. But this method what creating the pressure and transporting the water is done by difference of ions concentration with very small plants. As the plants becomes higher or to the peak point or highest point, then the plant use the another method. So that we have to discuss here. The another method is called as what transpiration. Okay, that plant with a shorter plants or with a small height, that time they will transport the water molecules through the xylem with water, that is the ion concentration. Okay, the difference of ion concentration. But as the height increases, that time the plant uses the another method called as what transpiration. Okay, that method is called as what transpiration.